For finger flexion and extension, there's a couple different ways to measure it. Any of the joints, the MCP, the PIP, or the DIP, can be measured with a simple goniometer, a finger goniometer like this, one joint at a time. So we would line the stationary arm up along the metacarpal. The movable arm will go along the proximal phalanx if we're measuring the MCP. Go ahead and bend for me as far as you can. And the fulcrum will automatically go posterior to that joint, and that will right itself as long as you have the other two surfaces aligned. So we can do that for the MCP. I can have him bend the PIP as far as he's able, and I can align this along the proximal phalanx, the movable arm along the middle phalanx, and I would take my reading going from 0 up. Okay. Extension would work in just the opposite way. Go ahead and straighten your fingers for me, and I would see, can he get to 0? Or if he couldn't, you would measure the distance there that was missing. So we can measure individual joints that way. Very often we want to have a quicker way to measure the grasp. So we can have them make a fist, and we call this composite fist flexion. So go ahead and make a fist for me. And ideally we should see that the fingernails are touching the crease here. We call that our distal palmar crease. If they're not, then what we're going to do is measure the distance between that crease and the tip of the finger, and we're going to measure that in centimeters with the ruler. So you're not using the goniometer for this portion, you're actually using the ruler aspect that's on the goniometer. So we could measure that as 1.6 centimeters or whatever the case would be. So often what we'll do is if the index and the middle were both touching, we would indicate those were both 0. If the ring finger was at 1.6 centimeters, then we would record that for the ring finger, and then we come over and measure the small finger. This one is at 0.6, and we would record that for the measurement for the small finger. We could quickly have a grasp measurement that covers the index, middle, ring, and small finger, and certainly less time than it would take to individually record the joints.